What's up, world? This is Kirara-sen, aka Pink Unicorn comedian from Tokyo, Japan. How are you doing, guys? Hello, Copenhagen. Thank you very much for joining us. Well, it's March 11th, 2:30 p.m. here in Tokyo, Japan. As you may know, and as I wrote in this title 10 years ago, correctly 2:46 p.m. on March 11th, we experienced a huge earthquake, the biggest earthquake ever in Japanese history. And as you know, the damage was really tragic. And I was in Tokyo, so I didn't experience the tsunami, but I never forget what I was doing at the moment, and I never forget how I came back home on the day. And yeah, it's unforgettable day. So it's 10th year. Well, time flies, and I still can't believe it. But I think in pandemic in 2020 and 2021, calling back our experience having the huge earthquake or big tragedy or losing a lot of great friends or families, important people, I think it has something important. So today I have a special guest. This is my first time having guests on my live streaming, and he is from Kumamoto Prefecture in Japan, we also experienced a huge earthquake in 2016. And he is an American guy and teaching at Tohoku University in Kumamoto Prefecture. So please welcome Mr. Daniel Miner. Hello, Daniel-san.
Hello. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, thank you very much for joining us. Wow. I still don't know how to split the screen so well, though. But anyway, thank you very much for joining us today. And so you're from Kumamoto. How's the Kumamoto today?
Kumamoto is very nice. It's a little bit overcast, but still a nice day. It's not too cold. I noticed as I was walking to my office today that the sakura blossoms are starting to swell. It's only going to be a few more days or a week or so until we really have the cherry blossoms to enjoy.
Great. And so speaking of earthquakes, did you experience the Tohoku earthquake?
I was in Japan at the time. Of course, as you know, it was still the spring vacation time at the university. So I wasn't at my office. I was actually at home on that day in that afternoon. And of course, being in Kumamoto, very far removed from where the earthquake took place, I didn't feel it, but there were, obviously a lot of information came out very quickly about the disaster that had happened, and so I became aware of it very soon after that.
So, and you also had a huge earthquake 5 years later, Kumamoto earthquakes. Did you experience that too?
Yes, I was again in Kumamoto at that time. That happened after the spring vacation had ended. We had actually started classes. We were in, I believe, our third week of class at the time, and the earthquakes took place in the evening and then early morning hours. So again, I was at home, and those I definitely felt. That was, but the scale was much different. It was a terrible amount of damage that was done here, but not nearly on the scale that Tohoku experienced.
Actually, 2 years after Kumamoto earthquake, I visited Kumamoto, but I was really shocked to see still a lot of damages were left. The trace of the damage were left even around the Kumamoto station, the biggest station. So yeah, and Tohoku, I also visited there too, and maybe that was already 3 years later or something. The trace of the damage was still huge, and yeah, I never forget it. So how was it as an American experienced the huge earthquake?
Well, it was quite a shock because I am from Iowa in the United States, where we don't know earthquakes at all. Yeah, if there are tremors, going to be barely. So I really didn't know what an earthquake was until I experienced Japan. And
Mm-hmm.
one 5 years ago, with any damage, I prior to that where dishes had rattled on the shelves and maybe pictures falling from the walls and so on. But
Mm-hmm.
the earthquake that I experienced 5 years ago here in Kumamoto, my
Mm-hmm.
television tipped over, fell off of the television stand. Printer, my computer printer fell off of the desk, and I mean dishes. There were two earthquakes actually, one after the other, kind of a pre-shock and then the main, because the normally the aftershock is weaker, but in our
Mm-hmm.
case the aftershock, the second shock was actually larger than the first, and that's where the real damage took place. I lost most of my dishes at that time. Anything that wasn't unbreakable was broken.
Wow, sounds. Yeah, I think a lot of listeners or audience, maybe you haven't experienced such huge earthquake, but maybe it'll be really shocking if you experience it for the first time. So usually in Japan, every year, 2:46 p.m. of March 11th, we pray for the victims and the damaged area. In your way, it doesn't matter what religion you are in. We just close our eyes or pray for the victims or the spirit, and just pray for the peace and happiness. But anyway, so we still have 8 minutes to then, and maybe this some people might feel not so good, but I really want to share what exactly happened 10 years ago a little bit. So I will play a video about 3 or 4 minutes, but actually it's really shocking video, and every year I watch this kind of video to remind what happened. But every time I have slight migraine on the right side of my head. But I think it's very important to call back the memory. So I always do it. So, but if you don't want to feel so much stressed out, just to come back to this live streaming 3 4 minutes later. Okay. Right. Let's go. あれ、すみません。ちょっと待ってくださいね。Okay, こうし
Maybe the PN. Oh, yeah, the PNP is the better. That's right. Yeah, that looks good.
Miyagi Prefecture in northern Japan, the Sendai area. The tsunami has already engulfed some cities. Fires breaking out due to the earthquake. In northeastern Japan's Iwate Prefecture, tsunami waves of over 4 meters were observed soon after the quake. The agency is warning that tsunami could reach between 6 and 10 meters. Tsunamis come in several waves. For those of you who are listening to this program, if you're along the coast, please do stay away and move to higher ground immediately. We're seeing live coverage of Miyagi Prefecture in the Sendai area. Japan's meteorological agency revised the magnitude of the quake to 8.4 from 7.9, one of the worst earthquakes ever in Japanese history. It's a 7 on a Japanese seismic scale of 0 to 7. That is the same size earthquake as the one that hit the Great Hanshin area back in 1995. Fires breaking out, as you can see, live coverage in the Sendai area, Miyagi Prefecture, north of Japan. For those of you who have just tuned into NHK World, A major earthquake hit Japan Friday afternoon about an hour and 10 minutes ago. Japan's meteorological agency says the quake measured magnitude 8.4. It has revised it upwards to 8.4. The agency has issued a tsunami warning for Japan's Pacific coast. In northeastern Japan's Iwate Prefecture, tsunami waves of over 4 meters were observed soon after the quake. The agency is warning that the tsunami could reach between 6 and 10 meters. We're getting reports of several buildings on fire. We do not know in regards to the exact amount of damage at this time, but we are soon to get a report from Japan's meteorological agency. They're setting up to find out the extent of the damage. All transportation systems in Tokyo, as well as northern Japan, has been stopped. Airports closed in Tokyo, Haneda, as well as Narita Airport. A great earthquake has hit Japan. Magnitude 8.4 in northern Japan. Agency has been warning of tsunami ever since the quake, and tsunami has hit the Miyagi Sendai area as our live helicopter camera crew are up covering and showing you exactly what is going on at this time. Deputy Chief.
Hey.
Hi. Sorry, my screen splitting is terrible. But anyway, so that was a horrific, and right after I experienced the earthquake, we were still using one segu cell phone. So we couldn't watch the TV on real time without the antenna. So, but where we were, very weak of the wave, tele wave, or we couldn't receive the TV so well. So we didn't know what happened. But a few hours later, we got to know about this tsunami, and hours later, I got to know about the nuclear plant, Fukushima. It was crazy. Oh, yeah. Oh, Pablo, somebody adjusted the screen. Thank you so much. Yeah. So we have 2 minutes to 2:46. It's good. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I noticed in the broadcast that you just shared with us, they were talking about how the earthquake was initially rated a 7.9 on the Richter scale, and then it was upgraded to 8.4. I believe finally it finally upgraded one or two more times, and the final rating was something like 9.0 or 9.1. Yeah. It's the power of that earthquake was just absolutely devastating. As they recognized in that broadcast, the worst that has ever hit Japan in recorded history.
Yeah, and the total victim who died from this damage was more than 20,000 people, and still more than 2,000 people are missing. But actually, some of them are still being found from the area. So, yeah, I really hope everybody could come back home in near future. Yeah, so I really want to hope and pray for the rest in peace of their spirits.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. So, guys, it's gonna be 2:46 p.m. soon. So, audience, please pray for those spirits. Same time. So my phone will be ringing soon. I don't. Oh, yeah. So it's 2:46. Let's pray. Okay, thank you very much for praying with us. And so I heard something ringing in your background. So
Yes, yes. Kumamoto City also, they set off the siren in commemoration of the event, the Tohoku earthquake. They do that every year, yes. And especially this, everyone is aware, the 10th anniversary of this event, yeah.
I see, I see. So experiencing earthquake, has it changed your something like a value or way of thinking or something?
Well, even after having lived in Japan for 25 years, 5 years ago, well, 10 years ago, the Tohoku, but again, I was an observer. I wasn't in that one. I was in Japan, but then 5 years ago when Kumamoto had their earthquake, and we lost. My apartment was without water, without gas, without electricity. Stores, of course, were closed. Water, even for drinking, was in short supply, and so on. Food was in short supply. There were a lot of concerns. So I'm more aware. I'm planning for the possibility of those type of things happening. I'm more aware of that. But also on a more philosophical level, I'm more appreciative, I think, of the good times that I am able to enjoy, because I know that this earth has so much power built up inside of it that things can change just instantaneously for the very, very bad conditions. So I have to enjoy the good things while I can.
Definitely, definitely. Well, I sometimes told about my story in this live streaming or YouTube, whatever. So 10 years ago, I was still a little bit depressed. And till then, like 5 or 6 years, all my college years and the high school years, I was really depressed. And I was like, I had still some frustration against the community or Japanese society too. And I fought against the country because correctly national high school, which I went to on the court. And I had at the moment, I still had a lot of frustration about living in here and also living in itself. But after experiencing the earthquake, and first of all, I was really ashamed of me, which I couldn't go there immediately because I was just a fresh comedian and I was totally broke. So I couldn't afford myself to move there to do something or to do volunteer immediately. And then I thought about why we work or why we make money, or and also I am alive, being alive itself. So maybe just to work or just to paying tax makes me feel a little bit frustrated. But maybe if I have a little bit more money, I could do something for some people or my neighborhood or my important people or my friends or somebody, the people just like me. So it totally changed my mindset about living. So I really want to work hard and play hard to make something better or make somebody feel better, even a little bit. So yeah, the earthquake somehow changed my way of thinking against my life too. And actually, I went to Tohoku area, the exactly same area which I played in the video, like 2 or 3 years later. And it was totally, plain and the muddy plain, nothing. And still the mud, the ground was still very, very muddy. So maybe you need to wear boots and there are a lot of blocks of broken houses and some pictures or families, toys, or I couldn't take picture. I just memorized the whole visual in my mind, but even in that situation, children over there entertained people each other. So we went to volunteer at kind of community house, and the children are still playing each other and try to entertain people. So people are very strong. I learned people can be very strong. So Kumamoto also survived a lot of things, and so far Kumamoto. How's it Kumamoto right now?
How's it's to a large extent Kumamoto has recovered. The castle, one of the nice castles of Japan, is located here in Kumamoto, the Kumamoto-jo, and that was severely damaged by the earthquake. Also, the walls of the castle, very famous, the impossible to scale walls that were designed for the castle, were severely damaged, and so putting them back into a pristine condition in order to honor that architecture and the history of that castle has been and continues to be a major undertaking, and it's not finished yet. But as you look around, the damage is hard to find in most places now. Most people's homes and apartment buildings and so on have been repaired or have been replaced and so on. I can remember walking around Kumamoto soon after the earthquake, days after the earthquake and so on, when things were starting to settle down, but walking to areas of the city that I knew and seeing apartments where the apartment building had just basically collapsed straight down. The first floor was basically flattened, and the rest of the building was still standing upright, but it was one floor shorter now. So fortunately, most of the designs, those are parking areas on the first floor. But I know of at least one situation where it was living quarters on the first floor where that happened, and there were loss of life and so on in that situation. Looking around at things like that, yes, it really makes you appreciate every day that you're alive. Going to work that may have seemed like a chore. Now it's like, I'm happy for the privilege of going to work now.
Privilege to going work now.
Yes.
Well, but I feel that way in pandemic, actually. Yeah, having work is amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, especially I'm a freelancer, and So how's the school now over there in pandemic? Is it open?
Well, the school, there's a lot of flexibility and differences among the universities and the schools as to how they're carrying out the classes. Many of the universities have a policy where if there are a large number of students in the class, that because of the concerns for the spread of the virus, they hold those classes online. Generally, those type of classes are going to be lecture classes, so they are able to do the online classes, and not too much is lost from the experience. Smaller classes, especially most of my classes that are conversation classes and so on, don't really translate well to an online situation. So if there are, for example, less than 30 students in the class, within the classroom, seats are assigned, and people need to stay 2 meters away from each other and things like that. And we have the alcohol and the paper towels to disinfect everything before and after class, and those kind of precautions. And of course, keeping the windows wide open so that we get the fresh air coming in and so on. So we're taking all those kind of precautions. But classes with fewer students are allowed to be face-to-face, at least at some universities.
Well, because I'm from Waseda University, all of the students are always drunk. So when you said alcohol, I just imagined about beer or strong zero. So now you are talking about the sanitizer or something like that.
Right. Yes. 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 The sanitizer. Yeah. Spray it
Yeah.
on the paper towels and wipe it off. Yeah. Although maybe a strong vodka might be a acceptable alternative. Who knows?
Well, this is a true story. Earlier in February, I had a work outside event, and I mistakenly drank another staff's coffee cup. We had all same coffee, and I have been very sensitive about the sanitizing and because in entertainment business we need to take PCR almost every time before shooting. So I was really careful, I was really sensitive, but I mistakenly drank somebody else's coffee cup, and I was like, oh my god. And I asked the manager of the location of the venue, and I asked him to bring 2 shots of tequila.
All right, you're a tequila drinker too. That's my drink. That's my drink. Tequila. There you go. Yes.
I don't know if they work, but actually now I am negative.
There you go.
Yes.
Better safe than sorry. That's right. Yeah. So a couple of shots of tequila every day. Yeah. It's all for it's all for preventing the virus, right? Yes.
Yeah. Is it allowed to drink alcohol in your campus?
No. They're not allowed to drink alcohol on the campus.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, not no alcoholic beverages, and in fact, they frown on any kind of food or beverages in the classroom. Basically, students do go into empty classrooms and are eating and drinking, but I haven't noticed alcohol being consumed on campus. Although our agriculture department actually does make a shochu from the emo shochu. Our school actually produces that part of the agricultural department, part of their studies, fermentation and so on, and they actually sell that at the shop on campus. But I don't, although you can buy it here, I don't think you're allowed to drink it on campus.
Oh, that's kind of torture. So what do the students come to school for? Like drinking on the campus?
Well, some of them come to learn. Most of them, I don't know. Most of them, it seems like for a large number of them, it's to take a nap, because I seem to be spending a lot of time nudging students and trying to get them to stay awake. Maybe that's just my class. I don't know.
Okay, wow, sounds interesting. So yeah, the students are also maybe changing from when I was a student, I think. Hopefully. Well, it's not a long time ago, but it's a kind of while ago, So maybe it's been changing, and in pandemic, I just hope your situation is gonna better, and after starting the vaccine in April, maybe.
Yes. Yeah, but I mean, judging from what we've seen in other countries, even after the vaccination program is up and running smoothly, it's still going to take quite a long time before the majority of the population are vaccinated. We still have quite a long time ahead of us to be careful. Keep those masks on and maintain that social distancing and so on. Yes.
Yes, definitely. Tokyo now it's starting going back.
Yes.
Yeah, in spite of being the state of emergency, but the people just sick of it.
Yeah.
So younger generation start drinking like usual. Yeah.
One nice thing about the Japanese culture, though, that we have to look forward to is the sakura, the cherry blossom viewing. At least that's outside. I mean, people are together. They're often drinking and talking together, but being outside is going to be a major factor. It won't be the same type of situation that we had. I think we had a big spike in the number of coronavirus because of the year-end holidays, people getting together for Bonenkai, the year-end parties and so on. But at least sakura viewing is outside.
Yes, yes, and sleeping outside too on
Yes.
the platform.
Yes.
Well, okay, so Daniel-san, thank you very much for joining. I don't want to hold you so much long. So, but let me ask you one question from the audience.
Okay.
Somebody said, "I see a complete set of Dragon Ball in the bookshelf." You are a Dragon Ball fan or cosplayer or something?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, it's not quite a complete set. I actually read 42巻全部読んだんですけど, right? I read all 42 of the original
Yeah.
Dragon Ball series. Here I only have, I think, 25 or 26 of them.
Oh, just half of them.
Well, I bought I read them all. I bought them and read them, and then I thought, well, I've read them. I'll sell them at the used bookstore and get some of my money back. But then I realized these are really fun, and every once in a while reading them again. So I this is the second time that I purchased them, but I haven't actually bought them all yet. The first 10 books of the series are what I love the most. But yeah.
Okay, so principal of Tohoku University. So if you don't allow people bringing alcohol on your campus, teachers start buying manga in the room. They're reading the mangas.
Yes, the manga gives me a common point with my students. Right, everybody knows Dragon Ball, so it gives me some common ground to talk with them with. Yeah.
Wow, I see. But the younger generation, maybe Dragon Ball is a little bit older, right?
Right. Yeah.
Getting older, right?
Yeah. I've been doing this for 30 years, and so yeah, for the first 15
Wow.
years, it really was. It's Sensei more Dragon Ball, and things like that. That I'd read Dragon Ball. Now it's not. There are more current manga that are a lot more popular that I'm just not familiar with. I still prefer Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
One of my
It's
favorite
classic.
reads.
Yeah, it's classic. It's okay. It's classic. It's Japanese culture 101, right?
Right, exactly.
Japanese literature 101.
That's right. That's right.
Wow. So anyway, thank you very much for joining. Even though you were busy and you are busy in reading mangas in your professor room.
Right. Okay.
So,
Thanks very much for having me.
Thank you very
Take
much.
care. Yes.
You have
Goodbye.
a great day. Bye bye.
Thank you. You too. Bye bye.
All right, guys. So, audience, my unicorn, thank you all joining for this live streaming too. And my English grammar was terrible. So, thank you all my unicorns for joining this live streaming. And it was really great playing with you guys for Earthquake. And I really wanted to have this occasion these years because I really appreciate all of your support from all over the world when we had this earthquake. And unfortunately, this Tokyo 2020, they are trying to make the policy not letting international tourists come to see Tokyo Olympic game recently. So it was supposed to show our gratitude to the world of the Tohoku earthquake. Tokyo 2020 was supposed to be the place to show our gratitude to the world, especially for Tohoku earthquake or Kumamoto earthquake. But maybe we cannot make it. We can't do it this time. So these years, even while I was performing comedy, I really wanted to show my gratitude somehow, or to people who are way too far from Japan, but still caring about us, and somebody has having the sympathy with us and with our pain, you know. So sharing pain is not easy, but I think if you try to share or imagine somebody else's pain, I think the world will be a little bit nicer or more gentle to other people, and accepting diversity, or I think this concept can be said to anything, you know, even accepting diversity of race, nationality, sexual minority, everything. So just feeling somebody else's pain or imagination or caring. So anyway, it was really surprising for me that at earthquake March 11th, 2011, so many countries, not only, sorry to use these words, but not only developed countries, but even developing countries gave us so much support, no? So, and at the same time, I really regretted that I couldn't do so much thing at the moment, immediately. So the experience motivated me to go ahead, even now, you know? So maybe entertaining people or making people laugh is my gifted talent and skill. So as we talked before, now we are alive, and something, universe or God, I don't know, but something let me alive. So I really want to use my gift to make something better and make people even a little bit happier. So 皆さん本当にありがとうございました。So I haven't got used to this kind of live streaming. I always tell joke or, you know, but I'm really happy. I'm so happy. Well, そうだね。I didn't talk about what I was doing at the right moment of Tohoku earthquake. So 10 years ago, March 11th at 2:46 p.m., I was after graduating college, and I was super poor and young, fresh Japanese style comedian at the time. And I hadn't started English stand-up comedy yet, I think. And I was filming sketch with other young comedians in a community house of Meguro World in Tokyo. And I painted my face, and I was waiting for my turn. And then big shaking hit us. And we were on the third floor of the, which was the top floor, the highest floor of the building. And we were, first of all, we got so quiet. What the fuck is happening? What the hell is it? What the hell? And then maybe 20 seconds later, we started feeling like, oh my God, これやばい、やばい、やばい、やばい、やばい。We totally freaking out, and we got so scared, and oh my God, no, watch out, oh my God, we need to run. And then we just jumped out of the room and went downstairs, and we ran to outside. But now I can tell this, but at the time, at the right time, I couldn't tell this story, but now I can tell this. As I said, I painted my whole face, and you know, nobody knows what we're gonna do when we are really panic, you know. And I was like, oh my God, maybe I cannot go home today we need to go somewhere, or we need to escape, or we need to escape somewhere. Oh my God, I don't want to stay in this phase. And then before going out of the room, just one thing I grabbed was not wallet, not cell phone. It was just a cleansing sheet to wipe off my face. So, you know, don't do this. Don't do that, people. Okay, don't do that, you guys. So when you are hit by a huge earthquake, just see around your environment. And first of all, you need to escape under the table to protect your head. And if you need to escape, ever, bring your smartphone and a wallet. And make sure to wear shoes because some glasses are on the ground, okay? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So anyway, it was a little bit funny story, but maybe this is my first time telling this story in public because it was totally no joke, you know. It wasn't joke. It was what happened actually, you know. And later at night, we stayed at family restaurant, but that was a Friday. And on Saturday and Sunday, at the time I was doing hosting MC for small events at the electronic stores in Saitama Prefecture. And I didn't know what would happen to my work. Of course, if I knew, if I had known the whole situation, I could imagine like the everything will be canceled. But at the time, we didn't know what was happening actually. And at the time, I didn't know about the Fukushima, the nuclear plant happening too. So I was like, oh my God, I need to go home. I need to go home in case I need to go work tomorrow. So from Meguro to Asakusa, where I lived at the time, I decided to walk. And if you have been to Japan, you should know Meguro and Asakusa is not so close. It's totally opposite. Like Asakusa is on the east side of Tokyo, and Meguro is on the west side of Tokyo. Well, in the middle, but it's not the walking distance. But everything was stopped. So from Meguro, I took walk, and it was March 11th, the same day as today. So the hay fever season. So I couldn't stop sneezing, but nothing was in the convenience stores. You know, every shelf at the convenience stores empty. So I couldn't get any tissue papers. So I walked for hours with sneezing, and then maybe midnight, like 11 or midnight, I finally arrived in Shimbashi, and I was like, oh my God, it's my limit. I cannot walk anymore. So I decided to stay night over there. And there was a building which opened for people who couldn't go home. We said 帰宅難民, like 帰宅難民. This matter because of I don't know, Christian Akuma. Well, Nagasaki and Hiroshima, that thing was not for, not, well, I was trying to say Nagasaki and Hiroshima was not caused by Japanese people, but well, it might be not correct, you know. I don't know. I didn't know that Japanese people are smarter than other people. It depends on people, so it's just the same as other nationalities. Everybody is different, and smart people is smart. Smart people is smart, you know. スマートって言っちゃった。なんだっけ、帰宅難民。Refugees returning home. Returning home refugees. Yes, we created a new word, which is kitaku namin, in Japanese, returning home refugees. So in Shimbashi midnight, I stayed at a building which was open for returning home refugees. And I was in the ladies only floor. And it was a building for originally for buying tickets for derbies. So each seat has small TV monitor, and then they played the news of the earthquake. And I finally saw what exactly happened in Tohoku area. When we started walking from the community house in Meguro, we just watched the news about this area, like Chiba Prefecture or Tokyo Prefecture, Tokyo. And when I saw the tsunami, I was like, I couldn't find any word. I was like, what? And then I got to know about the nuclear plant, Fukushima. It was unforgettable moment. And also I was still young, and I just came out to the society, like 社会に出たばっかり. Like I just graduated from college, and I didn't know what is right or wrong so much. Well, I'm mature enough to judge my life for what is wrong and what is right, but you know, I didn't have my own voice, or I didn't have the fixed mind yet. So there are so many fake news, and yeah, even in 2011, there were so many fake news. And somebody emailed me wrong information and some scamming information or scamming emails, and we totally missed who is right or what is right enough to believe, you know. So anyway, you're still, yes, I'm young. ありがとうございます。Yes, I'm young, but a little bit more young at the time. ありがとう。あざーす。Listening to the radio. そういうこと。Christian. Oh, you're talking about the radiation. Oh, I don't know. That's why we look young. I don't know. But anyway, so today I just talk so much randomly, and sorry for saying a lot of feeders. But thank you very much for sticking with me and joining this live streaming. And you know, nobody knows what's happening tomorrow. Tomorrow never knows. So as Mr. Daniel said, let's take the privilege working, you know, let's enjoy the moment. We cannot waste any moment. It doesn't mean, personally, it doesn't mean we have to be best or perfect all the time. Just to feel appreciated or be yourself. Be yourself at any time. So I don't know what time it is in your place. For some people, it might be late night or it might be early morning. Thank you very much for joining and praying with us. And I hope you have a great day, great night, and a great life. I will be doing this live stream tomorrow too. So I hope to see you next time tomorrow. 皆さん、どうもありがとうございました。そして Thank you very much for all of your support to us 10 years ago, since 10 years ago till now. We are 友達. See you tomorrow. Bye bye. ありがとう。